What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Today's video, I'm coping because I've been getting cooked so hard in the Color Cup. I can't even anymore, man. Just go watch the last couple of streams if you can, because we've just been getting rocked. I went a full 6 sets with having absolutely no positive sets in Color Cup. I ended up coping over the last 2 days of playing Go Battle League with a team in the Master League that has done all right. I'm not that good at the Master League, to be honest, but I do know that almost everybody in the entire Master League completely disregards the ice typing. So I went in trying to make my ICE FANG Zamazenta work. Now, Zamazenta is a really strong core breaker in the Open Master League because of that ICE FANG and fighting type coverage. I would say that Crunch is a really nice move you can use. You can also use Iron Head. It also knows Moonblast. So there are definitely some options here. And I really I knew that I wanted to use Rhyperior because it was a really strong anti-flyer, right? It was able to beat a lot of the fairies, and I just needed something in my third. Now, originally, I used a Therian Landorus, but I was so critically weak to Kyogre that I needed to make a switch and try a dragon. The only dragon that did anything, of course, Zygarde. You don't want to use Zygarde? Completely fine. Palkia probably works fine. Honestly, anything with the Rhyperior, Palkia, core in the back, Palkia Origin, mind you, works really well. Zamazenta is a really strong lead, though. There's a lot of times where I'll catch somebody playing Yveltal, Rhyperior, or something like that in the lead, and it'll completely destroy their team. So let's get into these games here. I've been talking to you long enough, but I took some of these games that were over the last 2 streams. They're not necessarily in order. This is whatever the editor wanted to, put together for me here. But in our first game, we find our target, the Rhyperior, and the opponent is staying in. Rhyperior does have the ability to put out a lot of damage, but none of it really threatens Zamazenta. The reason I'm shielding in this first game like this is because I know that them staying in means they're weak in the back to Zamazenta. So I would like to put as much pressure on them as I possibly can, and by doing so, I should be able to hopefully either get rid of the Rhyperior or shield. Now, when my opponent is low like this, I can bring in my own Rhyperior, and it does a very good job of absorbing other Rhyperior's energy, because most are on Rock Wreck or Breaking Swipe. Opponent brings in Yveltal, and this is exactly why I love Zamazenta right now, because it core breaks this very common core of Rhyperior and Yveltal, and I realize that my boom button is not on, and I'm about to need it, because we're going to be going for this Rock Wrecker here, and trainers, this is going to do a ton of damage. Can I get it up in time? Oh, yes, I can. Oh, it was beautiful, and it's on the wrong sound. Oh, man, wait, hold on, we're going to fix this in real time, chat. Chat, I'm not streaming anymore. You're not my chat. Opponent's got a Palkia in the back, and at this point, I'm going to try to catch a move. Hope it works, but at this point, I got it. Just going for the close combat. I was expecting them to throw before I got to a move, and I did so to the point where I threw the wrong move. I should have just gone for the close combat because it would have won the game. But now they're able to get to the Aqua Tail. They've overfarmed to get to the Spatial Rend, and I have to hope that this Dragon Tail is going to do enough damage. If it's not enough, then we are absolutely cooked here. Does the Spatial Rend KO? Of course not. Zygarde is made of literally the thickest things in the existence. And then we get Dragon Tail on the Rhyperior. Good game. So in this next game, we see Yveltal on the lead. Really good. Again, just like the Rhyperior lead we saw previously, the opponent is staying in, and this immediately tells me that they're weak in the back to Ice. Zamazenta is so good at core breaking teams in this exact manner, and it can 2-shield farm down Yveltal. Now, at some point, I'm going to throw a move here before they get to their last one, right? Like, I want to make it to the point where they have energy. Maybe they want to spend a shield to throw it, but if they do, I can go for back-to-back close combats now because we do win charge attack priority in this matchup. I just found that out when I played this game. To be completely honest, I was expecting to lose it because that's my luck, man. Just the way that my games have been going the last few days, Color Cup and Master League, it's like, which meta would you prefer to get RPS'd in? Yes, because both. Opponent has an Necrozma, Duskmane in the back, and a Therian Landorus. So Landorus is the reason why they stayed in. I'm telling y'all, teams just don't respect. They will be critically ABA weak to something like Zamazenta, and just that's it. So opponent's going to be able to get a perfect overfarm. Extremely good counting by the opponent here. And we're going to go down to the Sandsear Storm. Now, I have 2 options, right? I have the option to... I'm going to come back in with my Zamazenta here and get the Ice Fang down. But I could come in with Zygarde and get some energy. But in my opinion, I would rather be able to go for the Crunch here. I was thinking about going for close combat, and then I realized Crunch is super effective. I should probably do that. And then Zygarde has enough bulk to be able to withstand almost anything at this point. A lot of the times that with this team, you can just spend your shields on Zamazenta and Rhyperior. Zygarde in the back has so much bulk that it really makes up for the fact that you have to shield early. But we're going to take that game as well. Good game to the opponent. Now we're getting into this next game. And we have a Kyogre on the lead. And this is really one of the things this team struggles against, and it really depends on how the opponent plays out this lead. Most of the time, what ends up happening to me is opponents will end up shielding the close combat that I throw. So I've started to just throw Crunch here in some later games because I'm realizing my second set ended up being first on the editor here. I probably should have caught that and changed them around, but it's fine. It is what it is. Crunch is going to go unshielded here, and honestly, I kind of wish I'd just thrown close combat, but normally with Kyogre, there's fairies in the back, so I'm already kind of assuming that that's going to be the case. I get in with my Rhyperior. I'm thankfully able to get a farm down here, and expecting fairies in the back. A Tapu Lele comes in, they're running Astonish. Man, I wish I had a Tapu Lele I could use right now. I have one that I could build, but I need some XLs first. Breaking Swipe is going to get a shield. I'm baiting here, which is something that I normally don't do. I always tell people, don't bait double resisted damage. But in this particular situation, I feel like there's a really strong chance that the opponent shields these. And if they don't, like, that's my only win condition because I know there's another fairy in the back. I just need to be able to get rid of this Tapu Lele and keep my Zygarde on, you know, with the bulk that it has, hoping that we can do something with the bulldozes, right? There's something that can happen. The opponent has a Zacian in the back. And I'm just like, I'm going to lose. It's like, Primarina is another Pokemon that completely decimates this team, and I just kind of top left when I see it, unless somehow I'm able to get something to happen here. My best case scenario here was catching a move. I should have built up to a move before swapping out, honestly. But the opponent throws the close combat, and all of a sudden, now this game is winnable. Because if they throw close combat, they don't have play rough. It means they're running Wild Charge as well. So I'm in a very strong spot here because they essentially need 2 more close combats to finish me off. Maybe even more. It's really hard to... Zygarde is... My Zygarde, you can see my IVs. It's not a hundo or anything. It's not even perfect. But it takes 4 close combats from Zacian to take out a Zygarde at this range. It's just... It's ridiculous how bulky this thing is. It's quite stupid, to be honest. Like, and the problem is that it's not even that good. Right, because you've got people running things that are like and literally any fairy shuts Zygarde down pretty much immediately. Opponent has a Palkia here, and I'm going to stay in, try and throw a close combat before they get to a move. And I'm like, that felt quick, but at the same time, I'm not confident in my counts. I found out after the fact that it's 17 to the Spatial Rend. So staying in here was probably not the best play for me in hindsight. I should have just gone straight to Zygarde because the Dragon Tails are very oppressive in this matchup, especially with 2 shields. And honestly, I could have come out of that move. I could have come out of that. I could also come out of this video with some brain cells intact. That would be good. I could have come out of this matchup with energy, but the opponent's Palkia actually farms me down, and like my frustration at this point is like, in real time, I was frustrated at this point. And I'm like, of course they get to a move, right? Of course they get the farm down. It's just me being frustrated at this point. So Rhyperior just needs to, you know, put in some work in the back here. That's really all I've got. Now, opponent's going to come in with their own Rhyperior, and I'm going to be able to get to this close combat. I was very carefully watching my HP bar, making sure I could get there. The opponent is going to have a Pokemon in the back still, but we're going to be able to come in with Rhyperior, up a shield here. And I'm going to let this go because I know it's just a Breaking Swipe. I don't need to shield this, but the problem with that is that now... No one would have expected that. I lose this game sheerly due to the fact that the opponent happens to have something that beats Rhyperior. Also, I owe y'all a button, but unfortunately my sound decided it didn't want to work today. So, it's very quiet. I'm sorry. And we pick up another Kyogre lead, and I'm very nervous. Opponent safe swaps onto Tapu Lele, and I've seen this before, but I haven't seen Tapu Lele necessarily until today. But this safe swap is winnable for Zamazenta. They have really not that great pacing to the Nature's Madnesses, and the Ice Fangs are adding up very. My Rhyperior could come into this matchup at some point if I wanted it to. I was thinking about it absorbing a move, but my real thing here is that I want to put Zygarde on the Kyogre, and I want to keep Rhyperior for whatever fairy they may have in the back, because if all shields are down, those Rock Wreckers are going to hurt. And the opponent's probably likely to come in with that Kyogre here, not showing me their third. We're only 2 away from the close combat. Might as well throw it because I need to keep alignment here in order to keep Rhyperior as far away from that Kyogre as humanly possible. Opponent has 3 Surfs. They're going to come in with a Charm Primarina. If this was Waterfall, I'd probably lose this game straight up. I'm going to be completely honest. But since they have Charm, we bail out of this game, and we're going to go for the Rock Wrecker here. And that's going to be a nice kaboom right into their face. And we're going to be able to hopefully get to a move against Kyogre. No. But opponent didn't... They must not have had Blizzard, because that was their main win condition, was just Blizzard in the Zygarde. Next match, we're going to have a Giratina Origin on the lead. Another really good lead for the Ice Fang Zamazenta, because we do have Crunch. Now, I haven't played this matchup on enough, because Giratina, unfortunately, is not very common in the meta anymore, due to the Yveltal and Dust Mains and all the things that kind of have shut it out of the meta at this point. And Palkia, right, all these dragons and Dragons, Darks, Fair, it's all just very hostile now into the poor Giratina. But we do go down a shield in order to win that matchup. Opponent does not shield the Crunch, but we're going to throw it right before they get there just to make sure they can't shield, or, you know, if they do shield, at least they're going to have to deal with, you know, paying for it. But we are going to go for a Breaking Swipe, but unfortunately, I miscount my Dragon Breaths, and the opponent is at an Iron Head. I have to keep my Rhyperior alive, unfortunately, but this is, again, the point where I was saying earlier, Zygarde can be another shield for me. Unless, like, if it's a fairy in the back, I lose anyway, but the opponent has a Rhyperior of their own in the back, and I have a chance now to win this game. Zygarde has enough bulk to finish this game if I need it to, and I just need to do as much damage as I can to the Rhyperior. Zamazenta can come in, tank a move for me. Thankfully, the game does not lag me by a turn and force me to not get my move out, which it has been doing so many times lately. It's frustrating. I try to go for a snipe with Zygarde, but in usual fashion, of course. The game probably was working correctly in this case. I just didn't throw my move in time. I don't know if there was damage registration error there, or if I just mistimed my stuff, but it is what it is. It's fine. Because the Bulldoze is going to be able to either take the shield or knock them out, and they decide that they know it's over, they're just going to let it go. Good game to the opponent. Next game, up and at 'em, we got a Dialga in the lead here. So there's 2 things I can do in this particular matchup, right? Because I get to the close combat before they do. And so one thing that I've started doing is I've started just swapping straight to Rhyperior to get ahead on energy and apply that debuff. Or, get ahead on energy and start, you know, being able to do this. Now, the important thing here for me is that the opponent is down a shield. And I'm going to get to my second Rock Wrecker before they can get to 3 of any move, honestly. And they're basically going to have to. Now, unfortunately, I do lose Charge Attack priority, and I don't know all the Charge Attack priority ties in this meta. I know Bulu's pretty attack weighted. I tried to go for a Cap tie here, hoping that I might win it, because I know Rhyperior does win some weird ones. But I'm just going to let it go at this point and take the shield advantage. The opponent has a good amount of energy, but I'm going to go ahead and keep my Zamazenta healthy. Again, Zygarde, right? We have a very, very, very bulky Pokemon in the back. The opponent now swaps immediately into their Dialga and is going to be able to go for an Iron Head. We do live it, and thankfully the Dragon Breath that would have come after did not register. We get damage registry, which is basically the damage from a move that doesn't connect when it normally would. So the damage normally would have happened on that next turn, whereas it was delayed by a turn, and we're able to get a perfect farm down on the Zygarde because the Bulu was so low. And in the back, they have a Yveltal. We just need to get the double Outrage here, and we are absolutely going to take this game. Zygarde does very good into matchups that aren't fairies, and so that's why I've started to like it. Like, it's... I'll rant about it in a minute. The Zygarde is its own thing. I've heard a lot of things about Zygarde, right? Another good Yveltal lead, right? And this one's gonna stay in, so all the same. So I can rant about Zygarde for a minute. Zygarde is balanced, and I'm gonna get a lot of heat for saying it's balanced. A lot of people consider it an auto-win Pokemon, one of those things that takes no skill to play, and you're right, it doesn't. But at the same time, it's also very easy to play around if you know what your Pokemon can and can't do. So Zygarde, completely shut down by fairies, has things that it can be beat by, and it is very, very bulky to the point where it's just stupid how bulky it is. But that being said, Zygarde, I think, it's a pain, but it's not nearly as much of a pain as something like Primarina. Let's talk about Primarina for a minute, man. I've started to hate that Pokemon like no other, all right? Because it always has the fast move that beats me. and it's annoying typing. Core breaks just the perfect amount of things in this meta that makes me lose. Also, speaking of losing, I'm down a shield against Zacian in this game, and I just get cooked. I'm pretty sure that I lose here, unless the opponent has the double nuke. That's basically the only reason I'm staying in this game. If they have play rough, I know I'm pretty much done, because they can just over farm, keep a shield. They got play rough. Like, I can try to make something in this game. Like, my only hope at this point is if I can get enough bulldoze debuffs to get a shield or something, and maybe there isn't one. There's just no win con, dude. There really is not a win con here whatsoever. But I'm just hoping to see, because we do live on 1 HP. I was hoping maybe I can get to 2 moves, maybe I can get them off, and then maybe I can get the bulldoze in. But the opponent has the wild charge, and they're going to take us out. It's a good game. Well played to them. We catch another great lead here. Landorus this time. And this is a nice lead. You can literally 1 shield farm this. You can 0 shield farm down Landorus. It's that crazy. Now, because my opponent and I are off sync, right, because they made a swap at the beginning, I'm going to be able to go for the close combat here, and I can shield. And the opponent has already shown me that they have Landorus, meaning they're not going to be willing to come in with that Landorus. So I get to see their third before they've even seen my back line at all. That is how bad Zamazenta can break some teams, and that's why I like it so much. And I've said that probably 3 times in this video, but I cannot get it through how much I have enjoyed using this Pokemon, especially in a point where the meta and everything just does not seem like it's that fun. Now, my opponent throws a move here before they would normally get to a Sunsteel, so I'm like, it might be an Iron Head, it's fine. Opponent shields up the Rock Wrecker, and they're going to go ahead and try and get some farm, but now you're going to see, look at the damage, dude. Look at how much those Ice Fangs are doing. It's incredible. I love the fact that this is a Pokemon that can employ the ice typing of, offensive typing without suffering the drawbacks of being an ice type. Because the problem with the ice type in the Master League, at least to my own, knowledge here and my understanding of it, is that there's no good ice types, right? The ones that there are, like Kyurem is probably our best ice type, and unfortunately, like, it's just, it doesn't have the typing. Like, being a dragon type, it's so susceptible to being beaten by steels. It's susceptible to being beat by other dragons. Good game to the opponent. We destroyed them with the Zamazenta. And a Rhyperior in the lead in the next game. We're going to see if the opponent stays in, if they swap out. If the opponent instant switches out of a lead matchup, usually that means that they are going to have 2 better answers in the back to whatever's in the lead. So they catch a bad lead, they swap out, try to get alignment. Usually how that goes. Now, this opponent staying in, so again, just like last time, they're weak to Zamazenta. I'm going to shield the second one. I just going to shield it. Now, debuffs for me have been miserable, but the opponent comes in with a Zacian, and I'm hoping that this one does not have the close combat. I'm going to go for Breaking Swipe here, on the cheeky little chance that they do decide that they want to go ahead and just let it go. But again, this is something I don't want to do. I don't like baiting, and I'm hoping I shield. They don't shield. Of course they don't. Why would you ever no shield that with 2 shields? I just don't understand it. And maybe there's something else at play here. I don't know. It just seems like such a weird, like, I guess that what they could have done, and maybe what they were going to do, was let it go, farm on their Rhyperior or their third. I don't know. That's the only other thing that I can think of. I'm going to try to get this farm down with Zamazenta, and unfortunately, the opponent cannot get to a move, so we are going to be able to get the Rhyperior off with double crunch. I'm hoping that they start shielding something, because I need to feel some confidence in the fact that I'm getting cooked here. The opponent has in the back a Tapu Bulu, and now I'm in trouble. We're going to go for crunches here, because that's the best possible thing that we can get. Then we're going to go for another crunch, because I'm fishing for a debuff at this point. I know that Zygarde can live a couple of Nature's Madnesses, and I am hoping to save this shield after getting it low enough. I need to go for an Outrage here. Bulldoze is going to cut it. And I'm going to try to get this Bulu as low as I can with that defense drop, and I'm hopeful that my Ice Fang will be enough to get a knockout afterwards. I'm not confident in this plan. I'm employing literally the wing it and let's find out strategy here. But they're getting pretty low. And so at this point, we'll just have to wait and see if it's going to be enough. The Ice Fangs have got to do it for me. They're going to get a perfect farm down on this stupid Bulu. But we come in with a Zamazenta, and thankfully, once again, 1 turn lag does not get us out, and we are going to be able to take that game well. Zamazenta into another Giratina in the final game here. Looking pretty good for this team at the moment because everything has a good amount of play into the Giratina here, and we are seeing them stay in. So once again, I'm assuming they're core broken. This is a really good showcase of what happens when an opponent is core broken and can't swap out, and how to identify that situation, because the opponent likely has some sort of answer, like something in Rhyperior, or they're going to have Landorus or something, Yveltal in the back. There's something in the back that does not appreciate this Zamazenta. So opponent is shielding up our crunches here, so I am going to go ahead and shield up twice as well to try and get this farm down, and we're going to be able to get it. One of the beautiful things about my Zamazenta, and any Zamazenta to be honest, is it can seriously get a good 2-shield farm down very easily. Opponent not even at a move here. They're going to go ahead and just concede because the Rhyperior, whatever they had in the back, must get cooked by Rhyperior because they didn't even bother to play that out. They were down. I was down a shield, but we had a lot to go off of there, and we're going to be able to pick up a 4-1. I have been hovering around the 26 to 2800, no, 2650 or so. I think was the lowest I've gotten over the last few days, and I've been up as high as 2800. And I just keep bouncing back and forth, mostly in the downward direction. I had a team that did decently for me in the Color Cup, but unfortunately, when I tried it again, especially after Shadow Palkia came out, it didn't go too well. I have another team that got sent in for your Shoutcast, so if you have a preference in the comments, let me know. The team with the Shoutcast is probably more exciting. My team just got me a bunch of 3-2s, but at least they got me some gains. But anyway, that's going to do it for me for today, guys. Thank you for, watching the video if you're still here. Thank you for sitting with me while I cope through this terrible rotation of 2 RPS metas that I can't seem to get my head around and get the right side of, but do it for me for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.